Hello, good morning. This is Dr. Mariam here. How are you today? So this coming weeks or days, I'm going to cover the topic of mental health. Um, I would say that mental health is a very big topic, is a very wide scope, and it covers a lot of different things. Different emotions, different conditions, and sometimes it's not even conditions. So I wouldn't say I'm going to cover everything, but it would be a kind of touch and go and more of an awareness of what we can look out for when we talk about mental health. Um, I would not actually be covering each topic because I'm not a specialist in mental health. But what I'm going to share more would be my own personal experiences and from my own readings based on um, when I was going through my own experiences. Uh, Okay, so what I had experienced before, there are many different types of conditions affecting mental health, such as depression, anxiety, stress, um, and among these, there they can even be subcategorized into different conditions. For example, if you talk about depression, you can have depression as a mood, or depression like as a persistent depressive disorder, or even if we talk about postpartum depression. Okay, and there are some within depression itself, there can be a medical and non-medical type of depression. So today I would say that I would talk more about non-medical type of mental conditions. Okay, because it is important to get the right treatment. So if you feel that it is something that you need medical help, or even if you don't think that you might need medical help, it is best to, if you have persistent feeling of depression or feeling down, feeling anxious, it is still good to visit the doctor and explain or share with them what are your experiences, so that they can lead you to some where you can get advice. So what I have gone through before, one of them was anxiety. So what the the cause of my anxiety at that time, I was doing my PhD, and there was one day I was having a jog in spring, early spring, and there were a lot of pollen, and it was the first time in my life that I got an allergy, and it was quite serious because I felt my throat was swelling, which I've read about before, that this is one of the serious symptoms of allergy, which can lead to death. My eyes were already bloated, and I feel my lips were also swelling up. And I rushed to the E&E. Thankfully, it was with another friend, a colleague, and he accompanied me to the E&E. And upon reaching, I was already quite panicky, and I couldn't really answer the question and just say that I felt my throat was swelling. And they immediately admit me in and gave me adrenaline jab, as well as some pills. I think it's some steroid pills to take. And thankfully, the swellings subsided. But I felt that moment that it was a near death experience, and I start to get nervous. I don't know, it was just out of the blue that I start thinking about, I was living alone abroad at that time, and in case of any emergencies, it would take my family 18 hours flight in order to reach me. And I start thinking about what would happen if I die and things like that, because I was living alone and I have no roommate, and it's not a common student dorm because I was renting private. So, those thoughts scared me, and I start having heart palpitations very often. And I went to the heart center and had a scan, but they said there was nothing wrong with my heart. But this condition went on for quite a while. And I went to the emergency again the second time because I felt that the symptoms was getting quite serious, because I start having difficulty breathing. While I was at the hospital at the A&E the second time, I remembered that at one moment I couldn't lift up my arms, my hand, actually my hand, it was in my lap, and I couldn't lift it up. I couldn't understand why. For me, I thought that it was my organs failing or something, in maybe in reaction to allergy. I mean, I didn't read up so much about it at that time yet. So that was just my imagination. And that triggered even more anxiety. But the doctor just told me, no, you're just having anxiety and you have to regulate your breathing. Yes, you have to remain, you have to keep breathing. So they passed me a bag to breathe in. And I thought that it was something about the bag. But then now I realize that it's just a physical way for them to see if I'm breathing. Because, when we breathe into the bag, you can see it going bigger and smaller. I think it's kind of just a brown paper bag that they gave me in the hospital. Like when you're in the flight, those bag for vomiting in. So I used that, and the doctor just said you have anxiety and it will not lead to death, but it's something that I need to learn to manage. So that gave me a bit of peace of mind, but that was not enough, because I was still handling the everything alone. So I remembered Easter of 2012, I think, or 2013. I had another serious anxiety attack. And by then, I've already found out about where I could go to seek help, other than the hospital A&E, because they didn't really do much. I was already looking up psychologists or psychiatrists or coach to visit, and I just have not contacted them when I had the serious attack. So one of the contacts that I got was the A&E for psychiatry that was in Stockholm. And that Easter of that year, I felt I was having a serious attack, and it was holiday, so clinics are closed. So I dragged myself to the psychiatric A&E, and on the way, my attack got so serious that I could not move my legs. So I was dragging my leg and my hands while I was going to the A&E. And this time I was alone because I was coming from home. I managed that situation at that point by having a picture in front of me. And this picture, it was purposefully, I purposely had it with me because the picture gave me a sense of happiness when I look at it. Okay, it's a picture of a smiling person. And actually it's I just serendipitous. It was just a serendipitous discovery. I found out myself that when I was looking at that picture of my smiling self, that it makes me happy. So I had that picture, and I just took a look, just look at it while I'm dragging my legs, and it helped a little bit. Okay, so I started to calm down a little bit, and I was able to reach the hospital, and there I start talking to them. And that was when I realized that there were some experiences that had probably gave me some trauma or some um, negative emotions in the past, which I did not tackle. Um, so they suggested that I visit the coach or I get attached to a coach. And that was my first experience. So the coach was connected to where I was studying my PhD at that time. And I was pretty lucky that the first coach that I got was a fit for me. This is something that I would like to note, that in when we are working with coaches, sometimes the not every coach may be able to fit us, and it can be a journey in itself to look for a coach. But when you find that right coach, uh, they will be able to guide you, and they will be able to give you this feeling, very they'll be able to calm you down and help you go through your journey to better mental health. This is important because I would like to note that you should not give up if your first visit to a coach it didn't work, because it could just be that this person is not a match. Because they are also people, and they are individual, and they have their own personality. So our personality will affect the way we approach our careers as well. I got this experience also because when I moved back after I finished my PhD, and I was transiting to move back to my home country, and I contacted a coach before I moved back, and then I visited them when I came back, or I visited her, and it was kind of a disastrous meeting because at the end of it, it got me just more confused, because the person was just discussing about theories behind mental health, and like because I'm an academic, I guess, and she was so excited to meet another academic, and she was just discussing theories, and I was like, this doesn't help me at all. And I gave up visiting her because in the end, I felt that actually I was managing well enough, because I already had coaching for 3 years with my first coach. So that have already helped me a lot. Later on, I'm friends with another person who is a coach, and I just thought, okay, let me have a chat with her. Okay, I give a shout out to Polia. She's my friend, and she helped me in one of my incidences, because at that time it was already different. It's a different situation from what caused my first anxiety attack. So the second situation was more family, because by this time my life situation had changed. I've gotten married and I have kids, and my anxiety then was triggered by family matters, like handling toddlers, um, handling new family relationship. So thankfully, Polia was a great fit for me too. So even with one session with her, it helped me a great lot, and it helped me with my perspective on how to approach my situation. So this goes to show that it's important to find the right coach and not to give up. So if you are trying to find coach, I have a couple of contacts who are really good. I've experienced the the coaching sessions myself. So there are two of them that I'm personally in contact with. If you're interested, you know, I can connect you to them. And one more thing that has helped me a lot through my mental health journey is actually essential oils. Um, this is one of the first, I would say, experience with essential oils that really amazed me. Okay, so what happened was with my first coach, I was also prescribed medication for me to take when I have an anxiety attack. And I would say that it kind of didn't work for me at all, because the time taken for me to get relief from the anxiety symptoms when I was on the medication was the same as when I'm not taking the medication. So I would say that the medication didn't work. So 3 years after that first incident, that first anxiety attack, and you know, trying out the medication, I got introduced to essential oils, and I was just trying out stress away. It was really amazing because when I first used the essential oil, I got relief from my anxiety symptoms between 2 to 5 minutes of smelling the oil. And that was my wow moment. Okay. Which is why I start to look up more into essential oils and what it does. So let me stop here for a while, and I will record in the next video more about how essential oils help me, and maybe some other things about mental health. Okay, see you in the next video.